Hey guys, I'm back with another Miracles of Christmas movie review. Now, Miracles of Christmas has been having a very strong run this year, stronger than they even did last year, because I don't think I've given a single movie up until now under an 8. And they've even had like a 10 over there, which was A Season for Family with Brandon Penny, right? Time for her to come home. When I saw who the lead actress was, Shanae, hold on, let me show you who it is. When I saw who the lead actress is, Shanae Grimes Beach, she was in When I Think of Christmas last year with Niall Matter. And I've seen some things with Niall in there that can be great. But When I Think of Christmas was terrible. The acting was terrible, especially Shanae. So I wasn't really happy to see her wrap up what I think is this book series. So if y'all recall, we started off, and I hope I get this right because I done watched them all now. We started off with Time for Me to Come Home with the country singer that's headed home, and then he meets a girl as they're traveling home. Then we had Time for You to Come Home. That's the one that had, I think, okay, so it's Time for Me, Time for You, Time for Us, Time for Them, Time for Him, and then Time for Her. That's the order. So I remember, I know. So Time for Me was Time for Me to Come Home for Christmas was when the country singer was headed home, like I said, and he met a girl that she was running some sort of cookie business or something like that, and she may have to lay off staff after Christmas. I love the very first one. Time for You to Come Home, I think that one was with Allison Sweeney, and it was okay. It was okay. Then Time for Us to Come Home, that had Lacey Chabert up in there and a couple other people, and it was okay. It was okay. Then it was Time for Them to Come Home, which was with Brandon Penny, and it was an amnesia movie. And I love movies where they either have amnesia or they don't know who they are. They forget some of their life. And this one was the worst. Okay, Time for Them to Come Home was the worst. It was so painful. It was the only Hallmark amnesia movie that I literally was not feeling that retrograde amnesia, and I couldn't wait for the movie to be done. Then last year we had Time for Him to Come Home starring Tyler Hynes, and that was really good and deep. And that happened Merry Thanksgiving weekend at 10 p.m. over on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Now, when I saw who was starring in Time for Her to Come Home, I was sad. First of all, Shanae, these bangs that you are rocking, they are tragic, baby. They are tragic. You need a new look. They actually age you. I'm going to need you to do something about those bangs because I couldn't get past those bangs. Megan decided not to watch for her own reasons, especially since she didn't think it was going to be good. I didn't have that choice, so I watched it. I'm going to tell y'all right now, Time for Her to Come Home for Christmas, I'm giving it a 7, okay? Which is not bad, because I expected it to be really terrible. But really, my favorites were Time for Me to Come Home. That was the first one. And then Time for Him to Come Home. That was the 5th one with Tyler Hynes. Everything else in between went from okay to terrible. Okay? So y'all remember, it's me, you, us, them, him, her. And I'm mad that the her storyline wasn't deep. So Carly goes to this little small town to lead a choir for Christmas. And, you know, her mom had recently passed away, so she's thinking it's her first Christmas without her mom. So she heads to this little podunk town to help the choir. Let me tell you something. Every time the choir sang before they got good, I felt triggered. It was some of the worst singing. And it wasn't like each individual couldn't sing, but it really lets you know when we're not singing in unison and we're not singing in a way, whether you're soprano and alto or whatever. Like, it was just a daggone mess. I was getting triggered all over the place. Matter of fact, I was so triggered, I forgot I had to do this review. And then it just occurred to me that I need to go ahead and do this review because I don't want to have to relive this anymore. Megan is asking, is this the end of the franchise? And I said, no, it was time for me to come home, time for you to come home, time for us to come home, time for them to come home, time for him to come home, for her to come home. Who else could be coming home for Christmas? Baby, we back to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner if we add any more people on Coming Home for Christmas. Anywho, Carly's on this little bus ride, and so is Matthew, played by Chris Carmack. You guys know him from Grey's Anatomy. He's on there, and he plays Link, and he is sexy as all can be. But I didn't think Sinead with them bangs even deserved a church hug at the end of this movie. And speaking of the end of this movie, when it was time for the final kiss, I was like, I know it's not about to happen in the church. We're not about to be out here committing blasphemy. So, yeah, they did step outside, and they kissed in front of the church. I know that's right. That's good and proper. We ain't gonna be making out in no church unless it's somebody's wedding day up in here. Anyway, so Carly and Matthew, turns out they're both on, the same bus. She loses this little pin that her mom gave her that said joy. He's coming back from active military duty to see his family. He hasn't seen them in a while. He hops into town. His sister's in the choir, and soon Carly convinces Matthew to also join the choir. Turns out his sister could really sing. Now, the actress that played his sister, and shoot, I should have screenshotted it. She was giving me Jamie Lynn Spears feelings, and I was also being triggered by that. The actress that played Matthew's sister, but she was prettier than Jamie Lynn. We are all about Britney up in here. We are Britney's fans, okay? There's no Jamie Lynn going on. So yeah, I was triggered up in this movie. Anyway, so they're in the choir. Carly's over there trying to get them all together. It's a mess. And during this movie, her and the choir start to really move like family. There's one man that he joined the choir, even though he's not really into singing because it's what his wife loved to do, and his wife is now passed. So we see a bunch of people get together in difficult times, and they form this choir, and they want to give us some Christmas music. And guess what? They want to give us something unique. So guess what they gonna end up singing? It's time for me to come home. Yeah. We've heard that song in all of these 6 movies, and it was in this one too, because the choir sure sang it up at the end. That's what they did, right, on Christmas Eve. Anyway, as Carly's there, she figures out that she's got a biological aunt. The biological aunt is actually the one that sent for her. Carly wasn't raised with her father. This is her father's sister. Her mother and father are now deceased. So she realizes she's got an aunt. She's got a cousin. Speaking of the cousin, Matthew was best friends with a cousin. And somewhere in the movie, you start to think him and the cousin may start being romantic. Like, who did he like, Carly or the cousin? This is before we figured out this was Carly's cousin. But then it was very clear that him and the bestie are just going to stay best friends. They were not meant to be in a relationship. And then it becomes clear that he's digging Carly and Carly's digging her. But baby, them bangs were getting in the way of love. Oh my God, them bangs were getting in the way of love. I just didn't know what Matthew was going to do. But towards the end of the movie, he kissed her. Boom, bang, boom. Carly now has family. She's now got a new home because she's in love with Matthew. And I think she's going to stay in this podunk town and add more music to next year's Christmas choir, Christmas Eve special. It was just okay. It wasn't the worst. Like I said, Time for Them to Come Home, the Amnesia one with Brandon Penny. That was my least favorite because that was actually painful. And so I always say 1 and 5. Time for Me to Come Home and Time for Him to Come Home, I thought were the best. But I'm just so glad it wasn't like the Godwink franchise because I would not want to watch them. I still thought the Time to Come Home series was a lot better than the Godwink ones. And I've gotten through every movie. And good Lord, Blake and his mama, are we done with this? Because Megan would really like to know. All right, so Time for Her to Come Home for Christmas. I'm giving it a 7. So far, it's the lowest scoring I have over on Miracles of Christmas. Sinead didn't really annoy me like she did with When I Think of Christmas, but the storyline was just okay. It was just okay. But when she got that choir together and they sang Time for Me to Come Home, baby, they put that little twang on it. And the girl that looked like Jamie Lynn Spears, she did what she came to do. And that's how I know that wasn't Jamie Lynn, because that chick could sing. Anyway, that's my review for Time for Her to Come Home. Thank you, Blake and his mama, for this, because I think Blake's mother's the author of these books that Blake has turned into a movie. So thank y'all. You guys let me know if you watched and how you feel. It's KJM, and I'm out.